Welcome back to Hometown TCG, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John, and today we are back with another deck building session. So we got a lot of great feedback on the Katsu video. That was so much fun, and I love seeing that positive feedback. So I wanted to come back to you with another one. And today we are going to be looking at Boltyn. So just like last time, I'm going to be going through this and giving you some examples of what I'm thinking as I'm building a deck. We're going to separate it out, cut it down, and this is not going to be anything that we're comparing to other lists out there. This is just going to be a thought process if I'm building this from scratch. So let's get into it. With Boltyn himself, he is an aggro deck, and we're going to be running a Sabers build. So in the Sabers build, it tends to stall out a little bit if you don't get a charge card. Or if you don't have a way to buff your attack to attack reaction to it or something like that. So what happens is when you're playing these aggro v aggro matchups, you have to make sure you don't draw into those dead hands. So we want to be as efficient as possible. That's one of our goals with the deck. And then also we can switch into a little bit of a more mid-range strategy against other aggro decks besides Chain. So let's try to figure out how we're going to do that. But then also we need to figure out how we can beat these hyper control decks in the meta. So I'm going to give you what I think about it, and let's dig into it. The first thing I always do is go to the weapon. I said we're going to build it around Raiden. Now with Raiden, it obviously has to do with charging. So like I said before, charging is the most important thing, and you will draw dead if you don't draw enough charge cards. So looking at ratios is going to be very important for that. I like Brave Forge Bracers here. You have some other options, but this defense is great because you don't want to block in this deck. He's way better with 4 or 5 cards than he is with 2 or 3. It's like he grows exponentially the more cards you have, so you want to keep those. Let's see. The Halo. Now, I'm going to be honest, you could keep this for just the Spell Void against like Wizard or something. But we're not going to for now. We can add it in later if we want. You don't know. That's not how I do it. I'm adding everything now. We can take it out. Valiant Dynamo, Vestige of Soul. Okay, Skullcap. This is great as well because it can give you that block that you need. Tunic is your real go-getter here because it lets you play without having to pitch for a pitch card, which is amazing this because you do not want to pitch in this deck. Running through. Now Null Rune, you can run some Null Rune in this deck as well in those armor spots. Snapdragon Scalers is huge. It lets you get away with one sort of dead hand. And I have another piece that I like to consider, but I'll get annihilated for even suggesting it. These bad boys. So we're going to put them there. They're going to get cut probably because we don't have to worry about that. But okay. We're getting into light cards. We need to have a lot of light cards in this deck because our deck is focused around those charging. And 2 of your most powerful cards are going to be your specializations. So I'm going to first look at these charge cards themselves when I'm going through. Blah, 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 blah. Looking around. Those are instants. That's why I was missing. I'm looking at my attack actions for chargers. Okay, so Bolt of Courage, this might be the best one. Gives you an amazing hit effect. So I'm clearly going to have this in there. I'm going to run it in red and yellow. You could run it in blue, but again, I'm not trying to really pitch with this deck. I'm really not. And it's something I could consider if I'm actually short towards the end. Bolting Blade, again, we're only doing charge cards, so I'm not looking at any of these ones right now. Cross the Line, I just don't like the pitch, but I'm going to put it in there because it is a charge card. I'm not going to consider any of the other colors of it, though. Engulfing Light, another good hit effect here. We're going to do it in red and yellow. Express Lightning, we're going to do it in red for the 4. Illuminate, I love Illuminate because it is a 4, it gives you another hit effect, and it's something you can do on turns that you draw kind of dead, where you can block out and do something like this. It's also pretty great as just a finisher on your turns. Impenetrable Belief, this is a 4 block, is really against Chain, and the only good targets here are 4s with hit effects, so against Nebula Blade, against Meet and Greet, against Consuming Volition. It's really not wonderful. I don't like it, but I think it's definitely worth considering as the blue. You're only playing it as a block or a pitch. Invigorating Light, this is one that I would definitely consider against Prism. So I'm putting it in here. It's the 6 attack, which is awesome. But the reason why I would consider it over other ones that are really just better in every regard a lot of times is that this is a light card and it works with your specializations. But why am I adding these in? Because we're not doing charge cards. What am I doing? I gave you a little preview. Okay, continuing with charge cards. We're looking at Take Flight. Take Flight is great. We're going to run it in red and yellow, just like our other important ones. Via the Vanguard. Now, this is your most important card in the deck. And when I'm playing Boltyn, I love to kind of build around this card because it's so powerful. You're going to be doing 19 to about 30 damage on your turn. You could squeak some more in depending on your hand. But this is the way you win. You get one of these off. So I like just building around it and going for a deck that makes this as powerful as it can. So 3 of those bad boys. Okay, so that's our chargers. Next, I'm going to look at attack reactions or buffing cards. Okay, because I think those are the next important thing, because you need the charge and you need the attack reaction or some way to modify the attack in order to actually get go again with Sir Boltyn's power. So I'm looking at the non-attack actions here, and really these work with the weapon, so a lot of them don't work with what we're looking for. Luminous Ascension's great, but again, it's not the thing we're looking for at the moment. So I need to skip to non-warrior cards. I'm looking for Nimblism here. I think about it. Okay, so I got Nimblism, and Plunder Run is another one. These ones are fantastic because they can give you that +3. Plunder Run especially if you got that arsenal target. And then besides that, you do have other things you could consider. You could consider some sort of Minnowism package, and you could also consider Captain's Call, especially blue Captain's Call, because it could be a +2, which is kind of cool as a blue. But I'm not valuing the blues that highly. Maybe I should, but Captain's Call is another one you can consider. Okay, so then I'm looking at attack reactions, other ways to buff it. And what I'd be looking at here is, where is it? Courageous Steel Hand. I'm going to run in red and yellow. You could run blue as well if you're going for more pitch stuff. Okay. And I think that's decent there. Plunder Run, Nimblism, and then those two. Yeah. So the other one to consider as well would be Razor Reflex. Okay, so let's take that. Let's move on now back to other non-attack actions that I'm looking for. I'm looking to just have good Via the Vanguard turns or have good charge turns. That's what I want. So I'm not going to be looking at some of these weapon cards. I'm going to be looking for Lumina Ascension. It's going to be my biggie. And I passed it on the first page. Didn't I? 1, 2, 3. This card is so good. Ideally, if you could draw Luminous Ascension second turn and Via the Vanguard third turn, you pretty much win every time. It seems like a tall ask, but if you get those cards in that sequence, you just win. It's just so many hit effects, so much damage. Okay. Let's see. We're going to look at other light attacks right now. Keep it with the light stuff. Bolting Blade, I'm a huge fan of. It's just so good off of Via the Vanguard. And I told you my strategy is I like to build big Via the Vanguard turns. So that's what I'm going for with this deck. All right. You may only run it as a side deck card against Prism if you're not necessarily trying to do that. Or not run it as a 3 of, but that's what I'm doing. Celestial Cataclysm. This card in certain matchups where you're trying to go super fast, it's not that great. But against one Prism, but also against decks that you have to take a little more time to set up against, then this card gets a little more value. Okay. Now here's where we add in the illuminate. I already talked about those. Here's where you can add in the impenetrable belief and the invigorating light. Okay, rising solar tide, not worth it with the pitch. Valiant thrust. This one you do pitch, but it's 1 cost for 7 is just so freaking efficient here that I like running them. And did I pass up the go again? I did. I'm blanking. Battlefield Blitz. All right, Battlefield Blitz is awesome. Okay, so what I love doing is if I have Via the Vanguard on a turn where I don't have the tunic coming off, I like to pitch one of my yellows in the deck, which I do have plenty of, and go V into Battlefield Blitz into either another attack or into your weapon, Raiden. And it's just great. Okay, so that's my light attacks, it looks like. Now I'm going to look at some non-light attacks that you can include in the deck. Did I pass up? Okay. Cool. We're just working our way down. Cadaverous Coax. All right. Command and Conquer. This card off of Via the Vanguard is pretty freaking insane. It really is. You're not going to do as much damage if you're running this, but the hit effect can become pretty nice and great against the defense reactions. If you have more of the blues in your deck, that's when this can really take effect and do crazy amounts of damage too. I'm not running a ton of blues, but that can also be where some of the blues I've talked about considering can come in handy. So, E-Strike. This works out fantastic with Boltyn because you can use the +2 to give it go again just from your power, or off of Via the Vanguard, you draw a card with it. Flock is Flock. Flock would be kind of cool off of a tunic counter. That's where this could shine. I still don't think you run it, but it would be interesting doing that. So if you're facing a lot of control decks, this is one to consider there. All right. No. I'm still looking for zeros here. Good old Overload. You know, Overload is kind of cool because you could do it off of a Via the Vanguard turn. And if they block it out, you banish to give it go again. And if they don't, you just save your counter. Okay, so that's Overload. We're not considering it, though. Promise is kind of cool if someone could ever get that to work. Ravenous, another 0 with go again, but it's just not light, and it has to be super impactful for us to consider a non-light card. We're looking Scar for Scar, same thing. Coming around, Snatch. Now, this is one that is extremely impactful even without being a light card, because this off of Via the Vanguard turn is insane. So that's obviously a 3 of. I love coming in with 7 damage snatches. Let's see. Tremor, Vigor, Wounded Bull, Wounded Blow. Yeah. Okay, so that does it for those. Let's look at any other cards that we could consider. Soul Shield is amazing. We're definitely putting that in there. We're going to need that in certain matchups as a defense reaction, and it's also a light. I also want to put in Sink Below for mainly against Katsu, against Dorinthia, against a mirror match. This becomes really good. I don't like running it against Chain, though, because to beat Chain, you need to just race, because eventually he can just outdo you and he just puts out more than you can. So you don't want to waste your time kind of going mid range and blocking. That's why Impenetrable Belief, I'm a little, I find it questionable. Okay. Potions, we don't really need potions. Instants, you could actually consider like Blinding Beam or Snatch for the mirror match, which is something I I'm definitely into, because it can completely stop them on their via the Vanguard turn. Like they use their tuna counter, they play it, and you just stop them in their tracks right there. So that's a thing. So we'll go like that. All right. I think we're pretty good there. Let's look at this deck. We got 90 main deck. Okay, 90 total actually ain't bad. There's not going to be that much to cut. I'm going to start to pull out cards I consider side deck cards. That one's obvious. Boom. Null Rune. Halo. Okay. Bolts we're keeping. Cross the line I'm not sure. Well, I'll keep it there. But I'm not sure about. Love Engulfing and Express, Plunder Run, definitely. Illuminate, Nimblism, Courageous, blah, blah, blah. Invigorating Light we don't need. Command and Conquer, I just don't have main blues in the deck, so the pitch ratio just isn't there to really play it main deck. I'm thinking you'd probably have to side it in when you side in some blues. Say all those defense reactions are out. Yeah, this is more like main board really getting what we want. Okay, let's look at that. That's 68, and that's including the 5 here, so we're really only 3 over. It seems like an easy cross the line cut to get to there, but what I want to do now is count out our numbers here. So charge cards, we got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Any more? No. Okay, 24. No, 27 with Via Vanguard. That's almost half. Okay, your chances of not drawing into one are so minuscule at this point. You can afford to cut some, which is why I'd consider Cross the Line being cut. If it weren't Cross the Line, it would be one of the yellows, probably. A yellow Engulfing Light. So I think that's the decision you want to make, is Cross the Line or Engulfing Light. I really don't like to pitch, so I'm going to get rid of that. Via the Vanguard's an exception because it's so powerful. Take Flight is an exception because it allows you to keep a card in your soul. So we're going 3 Cross the Lines are out. I didn't cut them. I got to go back here to cut them. So I grow 3 Cross the Lines are out. I'd actually be at 60 right here, but I want to keep counting. I'm at 24 out of 60 main board for charge cards, which is pretty great. I need to look at my cards to modify, because what you need, each hand, you need a card that can charge. You need a card to go into your soul, which can be anything. And you need a card to attack reaction or modify damage somehow. And then your extra card, hopefully, is just another 0-cost attack or an arsenal target card. So I'm looking at 3 Nimblisms, 6, 9, 12 with Plunder Run. We got 12 here. Now, this is where you'd probably want to be at 15. So you're drawing 4 cards a turn. If 1 in every 4 cards in your deck can do that, you're in a pretty great spot. But this is where we have Take Flights come in. So we got, with Take Flight, we have 18 of the cards. And if you remember in my previous video, your chances of drawing 2 blues in a hand are greater than chances of drawing 0 once you have 18 or more cards in your deck of 60. So with 18 attack reaction kind of things, if we're including Take Flight in that same manner, our chances of actually getting these go again stuff without drawing dead are very high. So I'm liking these ratios where they're at right now. Actually, this is really easy off the bat. Yeah, this is crazy that the numbers worked out this way. We're already at 60 here. So I'm just going to look at the side deck right away. Okay. We can have 15 in here, and we currently have, well, we got 22. Okay, I got to cut 7. I know I have to keep Soul Shield and Sink Below. Those are incredibly powerful in those aggro matchups. I know I need to keep Command and Conquer. It's going to be good against control things. The thing is, I want to have blues kind of thing with Command and Conquer. I don't know. I actually, no, I just want to cut Command and Conquer. I feel like you have to have more blues in your deck to run it. I'm not building my side deck around it. I'm cutting Command and Conquer. People don't believe me when I say these things. But I get why you'd run it. It's really good. But I don't want to. Okay. So we got... Yeah, you can get around control decks easily without it. The main, just because your Via the Vanguard turns are so big, Command and Conquer I think is more important in aggro type matchups. It's against Plunder Runs, it's against Art of Wars, it's against other Via the Vanguards, Lumina Ascensions. Those are your targets for it. But we're not running it. Okay, so 3-6 are really important. We'll keep in the snags for the Boltyn matchup 9. I'm going to cut the Impenetrable Beliefs because we don't need the blues. If we needed the blues, it would be great as a card that can block against Chain, but that's not going to be our strategy against Chain. We're just going to straight race. All right, let's go. Where is it? 1, 2, 3. Cool. 3, 6, 9, 12. We're at 16. I can cut one. I'm going to cut out it's obvious that I'm cutting out the spell phrase. Where are they? Okay, I cut those. This is the deck right here. I think we could get some consideration for something else instead of Halo here, because we could get some consideration. So there's some other things we could look at. If we want to do the Command and Conquer route, like I was talking before, we'd probably want to add more blues. So blue Courageous Steel Hand, blue Bolt of Courage. We have the snag there, Impenetrable Belief. These are all cards you would probably want to run when you have that. Blue Plunder Run could be another great option. Other things I could consider is, instead of running these null runes and stuff, you could just run more defense reactions here. You could run the Cross the Line. You could run the Captain's Call Blue. That would be a great one to run with the Command and Conquer. So you kind of got to ask yourself exactly what you're doing here. In my version, dude, I don't run blues. I'm not trying to pitch, so I don't want these good 2-cost attacks in here. I'm trying to go 0 as long as I can, and I have enough yellows to where I could do a V into a Valiant Thrust or something if I wanted. All right? So that's where I'm at with this deck. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. And let me know what you'd want to see next, because this is really fun. I love the feedback we got on the first one for this. So I do have another big announcement, though. We know that spoiler season has arrived. So we've got our Tales of Aria spoiler. And man, it's a good one. We are super excited to reveal this to you. September 3rd is going to be our day. So tune in. Josh and I will both be reacting to it, giving our impressions, giving our thoughts on how it will affect the meta and some mechanics. Man, we are excited. So we will be getting to you with that. And until next time, my name is John, and you guys have a good one.